Okay, cool. So, globalization, it's the growing integration of countries. Before, we had hundreds of countries all acting on their own, completely independently. The biggest example I could give would be a country would produce food for themselves, technology for themselves, chairs and tables for themselves, everything for themselves. Now, some countries would produce chocolate, other countries would produce services, other countries would manufacture things like calculators, phones, and we share. I'll buy stuff from your country, you'll buy stuff from my country, and so on. Okay.
Mm.
So that's the first part of this section, globalization. I'm going to tell you straight away, a couple of times it's come up, but it's not the biggest topic in the world, causes of globalization. Um, but very, very briefly, the main causes would be more trade agreements. Okay, so more trade agreements. And then that's the big one. It's very important, but we're covering it anyway. Okay. And then lots of small things. Obviously, much better technology. Planes are more reliable, frequent, so you can transport goods and services around helicopters, jets, planes, boats, ships, even like phones, internet. So I can make an order from another country much easier rather than before I'd have to write a letter or something, which or travel there myself, which would be so long, right? So reduced cost of transport and communication, I would say.
Mm.
The spec will list lots of different things. I wouldn't recommend remembering all of them. I'd recommend remembering the two or three that you would choose to write a whole paragraph about.
Okay.
Um, Effects of globalization, both positive and negative. I'm going to come back to you because if it asks me about the benefits or the costs of globalization, well, that's going to link to the benefits and costs of free trade because what is the biggest characteristic of globalization? It's that countries trade freely, right?
Yep.
Cool. So far, as long as you know that globalization is the growing integration of different economies into closer to one economy, that's good. Now we can go on to a couple of models. Specialization and comparative advantage is a massive, massive model that will help us break down this whole chapter. Because you might be wondering, why do countries trade, right? So, what would you do if there was no trade? You'd produce everything, right?
Yep.
So, if I have my own country, within this country, I need to produce food, clothing, manufacture different things. Well, obviously, including clothing and other products, tables, chairs, monitors, TVs, blah, 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 services, cars, and so on and so on, yeah? But now that globalization is possible, what is my country more likely to do? Do you agree that it's more likely to specialize?
Yeah.
Okay. So give an example of something it could specialize in. Does
In one
any,
of those,
yeah,
one of
so
those
any example.
businesses.
So let's just say, um, let's say we're China. We decided to specialize in manufacturing goods.
Hmm.
Cool. So what would I do about the food and the clothing? Would I still produce it myself or would I get it from somewhere else?
No, I would uh, probably get it from some other place.
Yeah, so you just import food from Vietnam or India, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Because Vietnam are they used to specialize in coffee. China specialized in manufacturing. Perfect, right? We can do manufacturing, they can do coffee and rice. We can import from them, they can import from us, right?
Yeah. Got it.
Perfect. How do we decide what we specialize in? Why did China decide to specialize in manufacturing? Why not in food?
Because it kind of knocks out many birds with one shot.
Um yeah, but okay. This bit's the first time this part of the spec is getting very technical, so we have to learn a couple of definitions now. The
Hmm.
formal way of describing what you specialize in is comparative advantage. And you've never heard of this, right?
Nope.
So we have to learn two different definitions: comparative advantage and absolute advantage. Absolute advantage is useless. No one even uses it, but it's the most basic thing. I'll give you an example. What's some your Are you good at golf or are you bad at it?
No, I'm good.
Okay, you're good at golf. So
Yeah.
let's say, for example, you're good at golf. I'm good at economics. We need to share our. We need to teach some people. Yeah.
Hmm.
We need to teach some kids who want to learn golf and they want to learn economics. Would it be
Yeah.
better for you to do half golf and half economics and me to do half golf, half economics? Or would it be better for just you to do golf and me to do economics?
Yeah, you and me
Exactly.
to do.
So,
Yeah.
exactly. So let's talk about advantage then. You have, I'm going to give a different example, yeah, first, and I'm going to come back to this one. If I say maths and economics, who would you say is better at? Wait, actually, no. I'll give a different example. We'll say golf, and what's something else you're quite good at?
Surfing.
Surfing. Perfect. So I think you're better than me, much better than me at both golf and surfing, right?
Mhm.
So you have an absolute advantage in both of these things. Absolute advantage means simply that you are better than me, or you can make that thing happen at a lower cost.
Yeah.
Okay, comparative advantage, this is no good because this means you're going to do two things, I'm going to do nothing. We don't want the world to go like that. We work better as a team in this theory of specialization and working together, right? So comparatively, which one do you think? I don't really know because I've not really played either. I would say I've played a bit of mini golf. So I would guess that you're much, much, much better at surfing and only quite a bit better at golf. Is that fair?
Hmm.
So if I had to depend on you to do one thing and depend on me to do one thing, you would have a comparative advantage in surfing and I would have a comparative advantage in golf. So
Okay.
comparative advantage doesn't mean better. It means what am I least worst at, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So absolute advantage means I can produce it at the lowest cost. Comparative advantage means I can produce it at the lowest opportunity cost. That's much more useful to consider somebody's opportunity cost. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to show you an example of how to calculate opportunity cost. It's kind of like the first thing you learnt in micro year 12. So I'm going to say food, cars, 90, 50. This is China, yeah? So China can produce anywhere on their PPF curve. So what's their opportunity cost of moving from point A to point B? They can gain 50 cars, right?
Yep.
How much food do they have to give up producing?
All of it.
Which is
90.
cool. So opportunity cost of one car, it's 50 cars for every 90 food. So it's one car for every 1.8 food. So the opportunity cost is 1.8. Make sense?
Yep.
Cool. I'm going to bring in a second diagram. 100, 100. This is India. So India could produce 100 cars, right?
Yep.
But they would have to give up how much food?
all of it.
which
So
is
100.
yep. So for every 100 cars, they give up 100 food. So for every one car, they give up 1 unit of food. So
Yeah.
who has to give up less?
Yeah, I mean, India.
Yeah, China have to give up 1.8 units of food for every car. India only have to give up 1 unit of food for every car. So India have a comparative advantage.
Hmm.
But also, that's the boring stuff out of the way, the logic and the calculations and the definitions. Just by looking at the graph, yeah, if I clear up this mess, I'm also just going to swap these countries because I always do it the other way and then it will just confuse you and me when we're doing more diagrams. So, just by looking at the graph, right, the basic option is if there was no specialization, we'd be halfway. For argument's sake, let's say for simplicity, we would be halfway. So that's 50-50. And that's
Yeah.
25-45. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. On the other hand, we could actually be smart. We could work as a team. We specialize, right? So who would specialize in cars? Who's way better at cars? Do you agree that China are better at both?
Yeah.
China can make more cars than India, and China can make more food than India as well.
Yeah.
But from the graph, it's very obvious that China can make a tiny bit more food and a lot more cars. So even just looking at it, you can tell China should specialize in cars. They should make 100 cars and 0 food. And what should India make?
50 cars and 0 food.
No, they'll specialize all the way at the other end.
Uh-huh.
So India should make 0 cars and 90 food. So how much food and cars do we have in total? We have 190. Okay.
Yeah.
If they were halfway, how much would you have? 50 plus 50 is 100 plus 70, so 170. Does the world work better with specialization or without specialization?
Sorry?
Does this world, this made up 2 country world, does it work
Yeah.
better with specialization or without specialization?
I mean, with specialization.
Yeah. Why?
Because there's more.
There's more, exactly. Higher output. And this would genuinely be true in real life, barring a few assumptions. It makes complete sense, right?
Yeah.
Germany make the best cars. Why would Britain have to use all its resources making cars when Germany is the king of cars, right?
Yeah.
Why would the UK make pasta when Italy are the king of pasta? And why would Italy do financial services when the UK are the king of financial services? If that makes sense. Yeah? Cool.
Yeah.
So we share our responsibility, and in theory, the logic is that world output, total output, productivity, economic growth, any of these keywords we can say will increase as a result of the model, where countries focus on exploiting their comparative advantage. Okay?
Yep.
Perfect. I will definitely show you how to turn that into an essay, but for now I think we should keep going with our understanding. I'm just going to very quickly tell you the assumptions. The assumptions are that, well, yes, we've said higher output, but what about transport costs? What about environmental damage? Any of these things could, well, look, this is roughly an extra 10%, isn't it? 11%, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, What if the transport costs add up to 10%? Is it worth it anymore? Not really, right? It was a waste of time. For that
Yeah.
much tiny gain, why don't we just make our own stuff? And then one more reason, which we're going to come back to later, is that do you think India want to specialize in food, a low value good? No, they'd rather specialize in cars, right?
Yeah.
So India could say, no, I don't want to follow this model. I don't want to specialize in food. I want to make cars, even though I'm worse at them. One day I'm going to get so good at cars that I'm going to be better.
Hmm.
So that is another assumption of constant returns to scale. The returns to scale are not constant. There could be economies of scale and diseconomies of scale. So you should be happy that you can use a tiny bit of micro as well.
Yeah.
Does everything make sense and do you understand it so far?
Yep.
Okay. Uh, what's one of the first things Donald Trump did when he came into power this second time round?
Set some tariffs up.
Tariffs, good. So now we're going to learn the model for a tariff. This is the demand in Switzerland. Did you grow up in Switzerland, by the way?
Not on Germany.
Oh, okay. I think you told me, but I forgot. So you grew up in Germany?
Yeah.
Okay, whereabouts?
Berlin.
Okay, nice. When did you move?
4 years ago.
Okay. Now, imagine this is a microeconomics diagram, but let's pretend it's for cars. So, actually, no. I'll just
Are
say it's
there a
for.
lot of graphs we need to know for Unit 4, by the way?
Say your question again?
Are there a lot of graphs we need to know for Unit 4?
No, way less. Only like 4 or 5.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I mean,
actually,
yeah, I'm
maybe
good.
even less. That's why I'm doing this topic first. It's the main two graphs done already.
Oh, okay.
And then it's
Cool.
just the unit 2 graphs again with AD and AS. Anyway,
Is
this
it
is
like
goods and.
Keynesian one?
Sorry?
Is it like the Keynesian
Yeah, all
graph?
the AD and AS diagrams pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, this is the demand and supply for goods and services in Switzerland. Yeah. Now, we don't just in micro year 12 we were like, oh, we demand goods and services, we supply goods and services in a given market. Well, that's not just true. In reality, we could also go to a foreign market, couldn't we?
Yeah.
So what does this curve show? This shows the supply of goods and services around the world. For context, imagine if this is the supply in Switzerland, this is the supply in a bigger country, this is supply in other countries, the world supply curve will be so big and so high and so elastic that we model it as perfectly elastic. Okay, so that's perfectly elastic. In comparison to Switzerland, there are infinite sellers around the world. Okay,
Yep.
so let's say food, there might be 10,000 farmers in um, 10,000 farmers in Switzerland. Probably not even, I don't know. And then there will be tens of millions of farmers around the world.
Yep.
Cool. 0, Q1, and Q2. What's cheaper? Is it cheaper to buy Swiss goods, pink, or imported goods, yellow?
It's good.
Sorry?
Swiss goods.
Correct? So therefore, 0 to Q1 represents local spending or local output. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. What's cheaper? Is it cheaper now? If I want more things, is it cheaper to buy Swiss goods to satisfy my needs and wants, or imported goods?
Imported.
Correct. It's clearly at a lower price point. Therefore, Q1 to Q2 represents. What does that represent then?
International spending then?
Yeah, the word would be imports, but you're right. Yeah?
Yeah.
Perfect. Bear in mind, this is before, because now we're going to do an after. So, what do you think a tariff does? Or what is a tariff?
It's just a price that people need to pay when something comes from another country.
Yeah, good. It's an extra price on an import. It's a tax on an import. What does a tax do? It causes supply to decrease.
Yeah.
Decrease is a confusing word because it shifts up, but the world supply curve shifts up. This will be your S world plus tariff. Okay?
Yep.
Cool. I'm going to draw the diagram from scratch really quickly. Okay, so the world supply curve has shifted up because of the tax on imports. Now I ask you the same question. What's cheaper, right? If I want to buy goods and services up to the point Q3, is it cheaper for me to buy local Swiss goods, or is it cheaper for me to import goods?
Swiss.
Yep. So what does 0 to Q3 represent?
Local spending.
Good. Local spending when we have a tariff. Has that increased or decreased compared to before?
It has increased.
Yeah, because it used to be like this part here, isn't it? Up to Q1.
Yeah.
Cool. So you can say up. This is literally 25 marks, by the way. You remember this, you understand it, you bring it into a trade question, and you explain it very well. That's it. And you give some examples, okay?
Okay.
Always say the four. I'll show you actually. Let me finish this quickly. And then after, if I want a greater quantity, what's cheaper? Is it cheaper to buy local goods, or is it cheaper for me to import goods?
Import.
Cool. So Q3 to Q4. Be careful, yeah. Don't mix this
Yep.
up. It's Q3 to Q4. What does that represent?
Import spending.
Yep. And that's after the tariff. And has that gone up or down?
Up as well.
It's actually gone down because it used to be this. If I just draw it quickly, it used to be this, but now it's this. Make sense?
Aha.
Okay. Are you sure?
Yep.
Perfect. You can fully label your diagram with arrows and stuff, but I'd like coloring it so you can visualize it. When you do it yourself, you'll really understand it. But if you had to memorize one thing for tariff diagrams, revisit the diagram, make sure you can draw it and explain it. But there's 4 things. Talk about local or domestic spending before. Talk about local spending or output after. Talk about imports before. Before. Talk about imports after. Yeah? And then talk about a few more bits and bobs like the price. But talk about the change, and so on. Yeah? What happened to the price? Well, the price went up. Everything became more expensive because of tariffs.
Yep.
This includes if I'm in America, well, in this case, if I'm in Switzerland and I put a tariff, if Swiss people want to buy a German car, that will cost more. If Swiss companies need to buy oil or pay for their energy bills and the energy companies need to buy oil, that will be more expensive. If we need to import gas from Norway, that will be more expensive. Everything will be more expensive.
Mhm.
That's coming in. Okay. Um, and finally, as a tariff is a type of tax. Well, this rectangle here, what do you think that represents? Where's that money going?
Revenue.
Yep, government or tax revenue. That's always a good one for evals. How will that be used? Will it be used as for a good reason, or will it be wasted?
Mhm.
And then finally, I wouldn't really worry too much, but these two triangles are welfare loss because consumer surplus will decrease and producer surplus will decrease. Um, Producer surplus, no. Consumer surplus will decrease due to a higher price. I think without rushing too much, the best thing we could probably do now is do an example where we do a tariff removal. It's the same idea. Do you want to try it? Try and talk me through how you would do it?
So we just go, okay, and draw a supply and demand.
Okay.
Set the set the supply of world.
Cool. So this time we'll do S world with tariff.
Yeah.
And then
And then you just go lower from that point.
before
And then
I would recommend you first go down because you'll mix it up otherwise. So write 0, Q1, Q2. Yeah. And just start labeling stuff or have it noted in your head. So this is the quantity of what?
this is the quantity of the
Imports.
spending.
Q1 to Q2. And this is the quantity of local spending. Yeah.
Yeah.
0 to Q1. Now you can draw the next one. So that's S world with when the tariff has been removed or reduced.
Yeah.
P1. My main effect has been a fall in price. And then I can label, what should I label this?
Which part?
This part and this part.
Oh, import.
But first Q.
Q3 and Q4.
Yep. And then this is telling me my.
Which part?
Q3 to Q4.
Import spending.
Good. And then my 0 to Q3
is the local spending.
There you go. There's three very, very clear effects. The price has gone down, the imports have gone up, and the local spending has gone down. What's the good thing? If I need to talk about good things, well, I focus on price. If I want to focus on bad things, I focus on more imports and less local, and vice versa. It's up to you how you do this bit. You can do it labeled here. It looks really visual and nice. Or you can just do it in words. I normally do it in words, but this actually looks nice. It's the first time I drew it out like that.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Last one. Last thing before we stop this is advantages and disadvantages of free trade. I only want two. The book and the spec will list loads, because you're thinking ahead as a 20 marker, 25 marker, whatever, you're thinking, what would you write in an essay? Advantage of free trade, lower prices.
Yep.
Another advantage of free trade is specialization, or, well, that maybe is the model. So then the advantage of that is more productivity or higher output. Remember the other model? And then remember we were talking for unit 3, I was like, use models because it shows your understanding and knowledge is better than everyone else's. So the model for this could just be the tariff model. Yeah? Tariff removal. And the model for this could be, do you remember which one that was?
For specialization productivity.
Yeah.
That was the one with two countries.
Good. It's the 2-country model, or the PPF, or the comparative advantage model. Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect. Disadvantages of free trade. One of them is structural unemployment. That's the type of unemployment when one industry declines. If I had to link it specifically, I would link it to this. If I specialize in food, everybody who used to work in the manufacturing sector will lose their jobs. If I specialize in manufacturing, anyone who used to work in food in my country will lose their jobs. Okay. And then I think that's mostly it. But one more disadvantage of free trade is like overdependence and shocks. But I guess it depends on the question. Because you could get 4 ways. You could get advantages or disadvantages of free trade. You could get advantages or disadvantages of protectionism, which is just the opposite.
Okay.
Last thing I'll just get out of the way is a few keywords or definitions. You've got all these different types of trading blocks. So you've got globalization as a whole. You've got free trade as a whole. You've got free trade areas. You've got customs union. You've got monetary unions or currency unions. So, what does globalization mean?
That the entire world tries to
integrate,
or countries try to integrate each other and try to work together.
Work together, perfect. Free trade means removing, because I didn't teach you this definition, removing protectionist measures, such as tariffs. And you can give other examples. You will come across quotas, subsidies, but it's easier if you just stick to tariffs as your example, because it's the main model you learn as a diagram.
Okay.
Free trade areas, again, is the same idea. But it's within a free trade area like the EU. Wait 1 second. Yeah, that's the same. Free trade area is just like lack of protectionism. And then the customs union is the same as above, but they also have a common external tariff. So that one's like the EU. Basically, the idea for customs union, if me and you are part of the EU, we will have free trade amongst each other, but we will also have a protectionist measure against a tariff on non-members. So in a way, it's encouraging trade between me and you. It's also discouraging trade between a non-member, right? And then finally, a monetary union, a currency union is you also share all of the above, and you share the same monetary policy. So you share the same currency and you share the same interest rates. So usually for all of these, I kind of focus on free trade anyway. The only one that's super specific is the currency union, but we're going to learn about this kind of currency thing a bit more in the next chapter.
Okay.